Imagine being the father of Charlie Kirk's shooter. Charlie Kirk's shooter was a 22-year-old boy named Tyler Robinson. He Imagine if you were his dad, if you'd had this cute little infant in your arms at one point, you grew up with a little boy as a toddler, cute little guy running around your house. Uh, he, Tyler Robinson was by all evidence, highly intelligent, a very good student, got a full scholarship. You're the smart boy, you worked your whole life and tried to set him up to be successful and to have many opportunities. And imagine if your son, he went to college and listened to his professors and kids and people around him telling him that the right wing in this country, they're fascists, they're going to destroy democracy, they're evil, and he believed them. And he went and he assassinated Charlie Kirk, who was a popular right-wing influencer who would go to college campuses to debate and discuss politics and ideas with kids and push the right wing's version of political ideology. But imagine if you're that kid's dad, Tyler Robinson, and that boy, you see his pictures in the news and you realize, hey, that's my son, you know? Imagine if that was your son, what would you do? Tyler Robinson's father apparently told a youth pastor, and the youth pastor went to the authorities. And from what I understand so far, it appears that Tyler Robinson actually went with them and turned himself in, despite having initially told his father that he'd rather kill himself than turn himself in. But either way, that boy's, Tyler Robinson's, life is over. He's either going to get life in prison or be put to death. Absolutely a horrible outcome for Tyler Robinson's father and his family. And but at the same token, you know, Tyler Robinson, he wasn't an insane person. He was a boy who believed everything that his professors and the kids around him were telling him about the other party. He believed all the rage bait online, all the crazy stuff influencers and people say to get views and clicks and money and power. He believed all that. He was very misguided, obviously, but I don't think he was insane. I don't think the shooter himself was evil. I think he thought that, like, basically, kind of like if you put yourself in the position, if you were put in a time machine, or if you had a chance to go in a time machine to 1933 and kill Hitler, would you do it? Well, I think a lot of us probably would. I think that that's how this boy, Tyler Robinson, looked at things, based on what everybody had told him, based on the claims that from the left and from his professors and people in academia and a lot of these things that the right, all the people a part of Make America Great Again or Trump and all that stuff, that they're fascist and evil and they basically more or less deserve to die, although they don't say those words because it's illegal to say those words. But when you say somebody is fascist and evil, well, you're pretty much implying that they should die. That is what people think should happen to Nazis. That is what our country did to fascists in World War II. We killed millions and millions of fascists. So, is that the right solution? Is that the right approach? I don't think so. And I think Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden and George W. Bush, Trump himself, a lot of people put out videos condemning this violence and saying, like, hey, we need to be able to talk and debate ideas regardless of whether we like them or don't like them in this country, or you don't have a country anymore. I think it's very, very important that we cool the temperatures down a little bit. And what has caused these temperatures to get so high? You know, I think a lot of people are just solely blaming social media and saying it's the fault of Facebook and YouTube and Reddit and places like that where people are ranting and raving and posting stuff deliberately to try and make you angry. And I think that is a part of it. But I think a bigger part of it actually is that it really does matter. Our government has become enormous and enormously powerful. And whoever controls the government is able to do things that can hurt or even kill a lot of people potentially. You can see this in the last 30 years. We've had major foreign wars, major foreign invasions, tens of thousands of Americans die and those sorts of things. You had COVID and the way it was handled both by Donald Trump at first and then by Joe Biden, by the right and the left, and their approaches. It affected a lot of us. People lost their jobs. There was the forced stay-at-home things. There's forced vaccinations, whether you agree with those or not. There's a lot of stuff where government power has been used in ways that people very, very much dislike and causes a lot of problems. My proposal is I think both the right and the left, they want to be able to protect their rights to do things, their liberties, their freedoms. They don't want to be forced maybe to serve in the military and go to foreign wars. They don't want to be forced to take vaccinations or stay at home if they don't want to. They don't want, or people want to protect their liberty of how their money is spent, or they want to protect others. They want to either prevent immigration of millions of people, or they want to allow millions of immigrants to stay. You know, there's all these different things that people go back and forth on. My thought is that the government is just too big and too powerful. If we shrink the government dramatically, then neither side can use it to harm the other side. The right can't use it against the left, like the left is so concerned about right now with Donald Trump and MAGA. And the left can't use the government against the right, like the right was concerned about during Joe Biden's administration, during the Obama administration, during the Jimmy Carter administration. The smaller the government is, the less harm it can do to any of us. And having a smaller government actually does not mean that things that the left cares about don't get addressed. A lot of that can be addressed through the court system. If you're worried about pollution and there's polluters that are harming the environment, well, large groups of people can sue those polluters for the damages that they've done and limit it that way. You don't have to have a government that comes and says, no, you can't do this or that. You can use the court system. The court system is quite effective at regulating the behavior of companies. I know because I own a company and I react and change many of the policies of my company to match what court decisions and legal risks and things like that involve. And I think everybody knows that businesses, they have large legal departments and they all watch what can happen with court decisions, and they want to limit their risk and liability, and businesses are pretty careful about that. So it's not just a right-wing thing, I think, to want to limit the government. I think a lot of folks on the left could see that too. You limit the government, well, that keeps us out of foreign wars. It keeps us protects our right to bear arms, our right to the freedom of speech, our rights to spend our money how we want to spend our money. So yeah, that's my thought. I think that the best way to simmer down all these tensions is simply remove or reduce the source of those tensions. If the government is far less powerful, it can't take away the rights of gay people to marry or black people to live in certain neighborhoods or things along those lines. And it also can't take your money and spend your money for you, which currently it takes over half of your the money you make through property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, gas taxes, estate taxes, and even now wealth taxes. If we limit it there and we limit it in other areas, there's less to be angry about. Like the right doesn't have to hate the left, and the left doesn't have to hate the right. And people don't need to make each other out to be fascists and communists and things like that to try and gain power and hold power. So that's my thought. And I kind of woke up this morning and I was thinking and imagining what it would be like if I was Tyler Robinson's father, and I could see it as a very strong possibility. I got two crazy little boys who are very opinionated, and I could see them falling in with reading what some of these online influencers and folks have said on either side, and then going out and doing something stupid when they're in their early 20s, because we all did stupid things in our early 20s, late teens, and I think we got to find a way to turn down the heat, turn down the tensions. And I think if we shrink the government and shrink the stakes that are there, there's a lot less likelihood that people are going to be getting so crazy about everything. Anyways, that's just my opinion this morning. Thank you for listening.